Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Buli omu gy'osinzira okuba ng'otuwaakinga nkwaniriza nateera ku mukutu. Mbabuuzaako muli mutya, mwasibye mutya? Mbakulisayo mwenna ababadde mu kuziikirako Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro eyafiirwako mukyala we. Tubakulisayo bannaffe na buli kiisi akoze, buli kyokoze within your means okulaba nga omukolo gw'okuziika Comrade Edith gugwa bulungi. Webale nnyo, webale ddala, tusaba Mukama Katonda wojje abeere ng'akuddizaawo kamaala. Olunaku olwaleero Abannayuganda enkumi n'enkumi beeyiye eruuka e Busiro ate okwerekera omwoyo gwa Edith oba omubiri gwa Edith aziikiddwa olunaku lwaleero awo eruuka. Tubakulisaayo era ne twebaza abo bonna abakoze buli kye bakoze. Njala tuwa omukisa guno okwebaza abantu b'omu diaspora. Yes, Secretary General David Lois Luwongoya avuddeyo okusoma abawadde amabugo bassebo ne bannyabo abantu b'omu diaspora mu kikozi. Era nkiwa Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro gy'ali mugumu akimanyi nti famire ye eri mikono mituufu egy'abannankyukakyuka. Abantu bawadde amabugo ne NRM geetawa nga baminisita bafudde. Obadde mpulira chapter erese miliyoni 13 ne mpulira nti chapter erese miliyoni simanya 5 8. Kale kwegamba omuntu mumuzaamu amaanyi. Abamu ku ffe tukola emirimu gino nenzija nenkola live zino. Sometimes information gye tuwa, amawulire ge tuwa gabeera risky. Era abafamily zaffe batugamba naye gwe mwana gwe yagala tutta. Nze maama wange buli wala video yange wenkola video nga mbutuufu ntadde waliwo wetera okukola video nengamba baneegano gagenda kunkubya. Maama wange olujato kasita awulira ekigambo ekyo tagiraba. Naye always kituwa amaanyi tugamba no tukolere ensi yaffe Mukama Katonda yalimanya. Naye ate whenever comrades get into trouble oba babakutte oba babanoonya babuze beekwese, you guys chip in. Nze sometimes wembanga nina ekizibu nina abantu bempereza message mutuufu n'atabuuza nabuuza n'akuweereza ssente. Mu mbeera y'emuso nnyongera basaba mwenna abalaba video eno bannaye nakoze ka business kange ntunda amataala. Nsaba ate mujje mumpagire bassebo ne bannyabo. Nja kusiimira ddala nga muzze ne mumpagira. Bebimu ku bintu ebituyamba ne tugamba yes katukole because abantu bangi nnyo abaagala tusasula naye tetusobola kubanga tusasulwa because ne bwe tukola bizinensi zaffe mwe bantu mwe mujja ne mutuwagira mu mbeera yonna. So tusaba Allah abaddizeewo. Now mukyala we yaliko speaker w'eggwanga lino Alison Winnie, mukyala w'omugenzi Jacob Olanya, y'omu ku bannankyukakyuka abaavaayo ne bagamba no tukooye okwekweka tugenda kujja twogera ebintu bino mu mbeera yonna. Era alabiddwa nnyo ng'akola lives zino. Lives z'akola ng'awa security alerts. Ayina ebintu ebimu byayogera nga mbutuufu. Ebintu ebimu tewali muntu asobola byogera wabula nga yekka yasobola byogera. Era the first time I heard her saatwala nnyo attention ku video ze. Naye ayina ebintu byayogera ne ngamba no ono omukyala nina okubanga muwa attention kubanga ebintu byayogera abamu ku ffe nga nze ntyo byogera naye nga mutuufu abamu people need to know this information. Now omukyala ono avuddeyo n'akola video endala ne my goodness ayogedde ebintu only God knows. Wabula njagala mulabe video eno bambi tolaba wekka, make sure you share the video to as many people as you can. Nga bw'olaba nnyongera okujjukiza bannaye mujje mumpagire nakoze business ntunda mataala. Tulina amataala ga sola. Osobola okukekkereza amasannyalaze ku faamu yo, ewakaawo, oyina essomero, oyina restaurant, osobola okukekkereza amasannyalaze wabweru ng'ofuna security lights eza sola. Ate nga zaaka bulungi nga zirina sensa. Tolina baleni ya gabana amasannyalaze amataala ne bagenda ontekereko ettaala y'eweeru yessaako yokka kasita sensinga darkness ate kasita sensinga light ku makya yejjako yokka. Njagala tuwulize omukyala ono tukomewo tovaawo. Bampita simple kali lugambo Promax tambuza video.
Hello. Hi everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you're watching today. It is March 10th, 2026. Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining my live today. Thank you, thank you, thank you everyone. Thank you, Jonah. You're the first. Thank you for coming. Thank you everyone. Thank you for coming today. I'd like to start with a condolence message to our new spokesperson, Honorable Waiswa Alex Mufumbiro. It pains all of us what you are going through. It is sad that we have reached, as a country, Uganda has reached a place where we have lost all humanity, and the executors of that loss are especially in the judiciary or judicial system. Our courts have lost all human value as individuals and as an arm of the government. The judiciary system of Uganda has failed Ugandans as human beings first. As human beings first. I can understand them saying they are influenced completely by orders from above, but must you be the one sitting in that chair to decide on somebody's fate such as this? Despite the fact that there has been several examples in the judiciary. In fact, we lost a judge a few days ago. A judge died of cancer a few days ago. A total of 7 judges have all died in the last 5 years, all of them of cancer. What does that explain to us? It is a possibility that there is some sort of elimination amongst yourselves as judges. Talk less of individuals that you are incarcerating without crimes, without judgments, without any accusations that hold water, without any offense that they have committed that you have actually adjudicated to. Because if Waiswa Mufumbiro knew that he was in prison for a certain crime that he committed, that the judge has ruled, like they ruled in the case of the Mabati thief, what's her name? The member of parliament, the former minister of Karamoja Affairs. Had they ruled on the fact that Waiswa Mufumbiro has actually performed or committed a certain crime, you could listen and say, you know what? He's a criminal, or he did something such as this, that, and the other. But he has not even been, there's no judgment yet on what Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro has actually done to be held for this long in Luzira. He's just a suspect, just like all of them, Eddie Mutue and all. They are only suspects. They are not actual criminals because their case files have not been acted on by a judge to rule and say, based on the evidence presented by the state, Alex Waiswa has done A, B, C, and D. They don't have any evidence. They are not supposed to hold a suspect for this long without ruling on what they've committed, what crime they've committed. So Alex Waiswa is only a suspect. Okay? We see that the criminal Onyum, who they say is actually the one who killed those children at Gaba Maranatha Primary or Secondary School. Now, I don't know if you have seen the last few days, this individual has been presented 3 different ways. On the first day when he was caught and Muhozi posted a photo of him, he had no hair, nothing. Okay, he was clean cut, bald, almost bald, maybe bald. A few days later when he was presented, he had kaweke, and I mean not just hair, okay? people who have lived with different nationalities, there are certain people who grow hair very fast. And then you know, especially, I could say the Caucasian descent may be fast. Arabs grow hair really fast. I've worked with people of different descent where they shave today, a couple of days later, they've grown a beard or everything has grown back, whatever the case might be. But I'm also a Ugandan first. I am black, okay? My hair, or your hair, kaweke, will take at least 2-3 weeks to even begin to show if you have shaved bald, okay? Just to present that, you know, there's follicles of hair here and there, and then it starts to grow all over. This man was presented on the 7th with kaweke of at least a 1/4 inch. Kaweke, which grows in a coil. That gentleman who was presented on Muhoozi's post the day that the crime was committed, when he said he was going to, I actually shared it on my page, when he said he was going to deal with him and possibly hang him in public or whatever the case might be, he was bald. Second day, he had hair. 7th day, sorry, he had hair. The 4th is when the crime was committed. On the 7th, the guy had hair. On the 7th day, he had a change of clothes. Okay? You have seen when anyone, let's say when Muhoozi abducted Eddie Mutwe, for whatever crimes they say Eddie Mutwe committed, Muhoozi, in fact, all new members are taken to torture chambers first. For the first month, they are beaten to pulp. Eddie Mutwe is a good example because Muhoozi came out and bragged about how much he has tortured Eddie Mutwe. Okay? Terrorist, okay, let's say Eddie Mutwe was a criminal of any sorts. We don't have any proof that Muhoozi says Eddie Mutwe has committed. This gentleman called Onyum, I actually have all his relatives. This Onyum person, whom they claim is from the United States, who to me is different from the individual at the crime scene and the individual paraded with the gadgets that he had, he was caught red-handed. Before and after killing, the teacher was a witness. The children were beyond witnesses of the crime. Individuals who caught this man red-handed right after what he did are witnesses. That man was never taken to court-martial, which that law of martial law passed last year in Parliament. He was not tortured whatsoever. Not tortured. This Onyum guy who killed 4 children, found dead on site with the panga in his hand, was taken by the police securely. If Muhoozi truly, if this is not a designed crime by Muhoozi to threaten, which by the way, in the last 2 weeks, at least 100 Ugandans have lost their lives by design. By design. 4 children at the school, the 4 children murdered by so-called Onyum. There's been several accidents. We have lost a judge. There's been 7 children in a patch. There has been another killing that is documented, Monitor just shared, of some people who were killed just today. There's been an accident that has happened. There has been the driver of Little Muheju bus who was strangled and hung, just like the gentleman, the new chairman from Mukono, whom they said hung himself, but mysteriously had gotten up in the morning, prepared himself to go to pray in the mosque, and then all of a sudden his wife found him hanging on a tree, dead. you know, it begins to appear as if killing Ugandans has become a government policy. In fact, the best policy has been executed by Muhoozi openly. Openly. He says it, and he says, you know what? Just today he said something about his father wants Bobby Wine as a toy, but he wants Bobby Wine for a kill. He wants to kill Bobby Wine. This is a tweet that he shared explicitly. It's on my page. I shared that as well. So this goes to say that I'm not surprised that they couldn't let Waswa out, Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro, honorable, to go and bury his wife, because previously he had requested for bail to go and take care of her while she was going through chemotherapy. It then begins to run in my mind that Uganda as a people, we are alone, because when you look to the judicial system, which is one of the arms of government, we don't have anyone there. Despite the fact that they themselves are dying every single day of cancer. They've made judgments such as when the late Segirinya his body was eating away with cancer. When every single time he filed for bail or requested bail, he was denied. Every single time he requested bail, he was denied until he ended up dying. That took precedence, and that is precedence that we could take. I personally did not believe that Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro would be released to go and even bury his wife, because it is a joy to the mafias running the government today, which includes Muhoozi, his uncle Salim Saleh, and the rest of the Karujires, the gang, Abbas, those kinds of people. This is what they would love to see, and this is what they wish for Ugandans. This is exactly what they wanted, to bring Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro to his knees. In fact, we're lucky that he's still alive, because according to them, they wanted to make sure that Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro does not exist, especially after they took his win of his constituency. Because as you know, he would have won that election fairly and squarely had they let things run as they should. So in a time span of about 3 weeks, we have lost several people, and it's going to continue happening. When Muhoozi comes out and pretends to say things like this morning he posted a tweet, somebody wrote about it, I think the Monitor wrote about it, saying that, yes, Benedict, that's true. He came out and said that corruption in the military has gone down by 80%. Now, he can say anything he wants. Apparently, this guy doesn't need any stats to open his mouth and say anything, because he never has facts about anything. But if you recall what I had mentioned in my previous videos, where I said, because they're trying to get Muhoozi to become a front runner as president of Uganda, now that his father is under the weather after surgery with a stroke and unable to speak, he's going to try to find a way to come into the hearts of Ugandans, because he is playing exactly from his father's playbook, except he's stupid. His father is a brilliant man. He was brilliant when he had the time and could do these things. But Muhoozi is not of the same kind. Okay? So they're trying really, by all means, to present Muhoozi to us as a glorified savior. When he comes out and says things like he's going to deal with Onyum, he's going to kill him in public, or he's going to send him through trial, or speedy trial and all of that, or that he has cut down on corruption in the military by 85%, that really doesn't mean anything to a layman Ugandan. It doesn't. It doesn't. Because the way to our heart as Ugandan people, we're kind, we're loving, we're friendly. When we see someone like Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro go through what he's going through, it breaks all of us' heart. All of us. All of us. And even if these people continue to dial on this button, they continue to dial down on harming or hurting or subduing Ugandans, one day it'll be too much for us to contain. That human nature will take its course. And I hope that happens soon. Because for people like us, I don't see us being rushed into atrocities or actions that we feel like we may regret in the future. Our president is doing the best he can, and all of what he's doing, including his absence, causes sleepless nights, okay, and heartache to Museveni and his people. According to them, by now, they would have had Bobi Wine in their hands, totally compromised and ready to submit to them to become whatever they want to become. So it doesn't surprise me, this is the point I would like to make, that things like this will continue to happen because they thrive in misery like this. But my hopes are that in faith, in good faith of the people of the judiciary, because you have the power to do certain things, that you make the right choice, because even if you feel like this is somebody else going through this, you may feel like today is Waiswa Mufumbiro's day, and that's the end of the story. It is not. I will give you an example of the former IGG. What's her name? Justice Lydia Mugambe. Many of you know what happened to Justice Lydia. She was the one before Betty Kamya. So when before Betty Kamya was elected or appointed, obviously, Museveni appoints, he doesn't elect, because those are people who he puts in place to do his dirty work. So Lady Lydia Mugambe, the judge, was sent to work in the UN by Museveni. And when she went out to work there, certain things she did were not allowed by law in the UK where she resided. I believe it had to do with bringing an employee or a staff member and not paying them right, or whatever the case might be, which would have been okay because in Uganda that's how they operate, but it is against labor laws in other countries to bring somebody and not follow the labor laws of that land. But that's besides the point. Now, Lydia ended up being judged at the Crown Courts in the UK, and her punishment was a sentence of 6 years. In fact, when the judge was sentencing Lydia, she said that because Lydia was not remorseful, did not show any, the pride that they come with from Uganda, did not show any remorse, did not feel bad about what she did, she ended up adding another 6 months on top of what she had already had, that was, that the judge had given her. So that just goes to say that however big you are today, it doesn't mean that you may never fall victim. And we only hope that in as much as they do what they do, and just like other people working for Museveni and the government of Uganda, today it's Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro, but tomorrow you never know, and you never know how you may end up. As I said, the last 7 judges who have died in the last 5 years all died of cancer. Uganda is not a country that is that we would say is absolutely exposed to cancerous chemicals or whatever, to say that every individual who dies in Uganda must die of cancer. Obviously, this is something that is engineered. Speaking of which, I think I got some information about the judges going to a conference. It's called the Joint Press Conference. Sorry, not that one. There's a conference that the judges are going to or have been invited to. It's called the ADR conference. And it's called the Alternative Dispute Resolution Conference. And it's said to be funded by the World Bank. It's at the Judicial Training Institute. Only the people in the high courts and above have attended that event. Okay, and it's going to be at Serena Chigo. I think they're already attending that event. But from this event, I kid you not, because they have to get rid of evidence of what these people have done and what they know. Yes, Victoria, she's currently in jail in the UK. Victoria is asking if the judge, the former IGG, is in jail. Yes, she is. She's in jail in the UK for the crimes she committed. So anyways, I was saying that this ADR conference, where all the judges starting from the high court and above are attending, is one of the strategies by this government to get rid of people who know a lot of information, who they feel like if they're caught or held, they will speak. So all those people in attendance of that event, they must watch themselves. It is highly recommended that after that event, if they are in there, that they go and check themselves, because like they did at the Taresita, where some of the military were given poison, this is no different event. They brag after they do things like this in their meetings, saying that we have finished this set of people. We have finished this set of people. The same way that I talked a few days ago, I said somebody called Spice Diana has been said to have been given poison. Salim Saleh was talking about it and rejoicing about having given her that. Give her the next few days. I don't know if she's aware. I mentioned if somebody knew her, would say something to her. It is things like that that is going to finish Ugandans. So the people who are continuing to perform these acts on behalf of these people must know that these people don't really care about them. They don't. The ones in Changkwanzi, do you know that the Changkwanzi event, they invited several NRMs, current NRMs elected and previous, and the ones who were not elected, to go and attend this event. At the Changkwanzi event, everybody's bed or sharing of rooms and all that was planned. That means you can't have a choice and say, I want to sleep in this hotel room or that hotel room, or I want to sleep in the room with this person or the other person. First of all, that should be an insult just by itself. Why would you plan for who I share a room with? What if I'm not comfortable? Okay? What if I'm not comfortable to share a room with a certain person? But anyway, as always, they have all of that planned. And watch when they come back from that event, how many of these NRM, especially the seniors, especially the ones who have done or committed certain crimes, the ones who have been very, very active in executing the dreams and hopes of the Mohozis, watch and see how their lives are going to be shortened. Unfortunately, these people have to learn that way. The beds, amenities, towels, everything has been shared. In fact, there's a video where Honorable Mao is pleading with the MP of Bunyoro, who wanted to run away and leave the event because she said she didn't want to share a room with so-and-so somebody. Okay? It is in things like that, in doings like that, that all the people who have died mysteriously have been given or done something to in prior arranged or meditated intentions like that. So watch when they come back. There's going to be a lot of losses of lives, which is the highlight of life these days. So many people at from any activity that they've set up has been at risk of exposure to their poison. As I mentioned, the boat is sinking and it's starting to fill with water. If you can see that Kagame could throw Museveni under the bus with regard to M23, Kagame was then trying to save himself. And so is Museveni, and so on and so forth. If those two can do it, imagine you, whom they really don't care for. They really don't care about Ugandans. So several things that are being done, including the new law. Hold on just a minute. The new law that pertains to breaking the buildings that are in the city or right by the road. They're destroying people's personal property without any type of explanation or compensation. We knew that that was happening. We knew that that would come to happen because in the precedence of the times when they tried or attempted to table different laws pertaining to land, their goal has always been to take over Uganda and give Uganda to Rwandese, not Ugandans for Ugandans, which is a sad, sad truth. Ugandans, please, let us try to wake up and take up, it doesn't have to be arms, but find a way to deal with these things, because the more we sit and wait, the worse this gets. I'm feeling like when Museveni is thinking about executing certain things, he tries to test things here and there to see if they'll stick. For example, right after the elections, when they went and took over His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's home, they wanted to see what Ugandans would do, if we'd rise or do something or say anything about it. A lot was said, that's true. But I feel like they built momentum from us not doing as much as they feel is pressing to them. As we speak, Janet Museveni is no longer with us. Museveni himself is not well. As they've sent us a few videos online, they've shared videos about Museveni being in Chankwanzi, but I'll tell you that all those 3 videos, Museveni is in different conditions. One of them, when he's speaking at the podium, he looks healthier than the first video when they claim he was at Chankwanzi. In fact, in the Chankwanzi videos, they were so weakly or poorly connected, because I think they did it with AI to generate and reconnect. They cut and connected different videos to the fact that you can see some glitches in the communication. Plus, in the background, you'll notice people who have already passed or previous MPs. For example, the former Minister of Veterans Affairs, in one of the videos, she's actually present. She died several years ago. So it goes to show you that they're recreating things or connecting videos to try to show us that Museveni is still here. It is causing a lot of desperation, the fact that we don't have a president who's active. The sources that we have say that Museveni is not at State House. He doesn't live there. He's not at State House, and he's at a hospital being treated or taken care of. Now, that could be likely abroad, but we haven't yet established which country. So, President Museveni is not in Uganda. The country is being run by his rogue son, his uncle Salim Saleh, and the mafias around town. The people like Kaihura are present, Damulida, obviously, Karujire, Ruabogos, people like that. It is a surprise that since 1986, this would be the first year that Museveni would not have an Easter message, a documented video of him being somewhere and actually making an Easter message. With the atrocity at the school where they claim Okelo Onyum was the one who killed those children. Again, that is also debated. That it helps explain the fact that Janet Museveni and Museveni himself are not in Uganda, because they should have come out. Janet Museveni, as the Minister of Education, should have come out to condone the fact that those children died as a minister. But obviously she sent the Minister of Higher Education, my former headmaster Muyingo, to go to the event. Inappropriate, but it goes to further explain the fact that she or both of them are not in the country. So for sure, Museveni is not in Changkwanzi as a human being. He may be there in spirit, but Museveni is not physically in Changkwanzi. Every attendee at Changkwanzi was requested to turn in their phone. So there are no cell phones in there, except some people who may be chosen are there on purpose to generate certain photos by choice to show, but not everyone is not free to have their phone and take pictures as they want, because they're trying to control the media and information coming out to us. It's easy to question or try to think about how come what is happening, certain things are happening. The fact that the videos that are presented of Museveni are of the same angle and shared throughout all of the media, okay? If, let's say, Museveni was there physically, there would be several different media houses with different cameras or camera angles and the freedom to take pictures or videos of people from different angles, including Museveni. However, Museveni is only presented on one angle by all media houses. What does that mean? Somebody made the effort to connect or cut and paste a lot of those videos to put them together and send them out to only the media houses allowed to talk about them. Okay? So it doesn't surprise me that they're doing that, because Museveni's decline was a surprise to them, because they thought by now that they've subdued all of Uganda. All Ugandans would be under them and just going, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Okay? So they're not there. Janet or Museveni are not there. Yes, Benedict, I see that. They're not there. So I'm going to read to you some of the rules that were given to them as they went to Changkwanzi. This is what the brainwashing. As you know, Changkwanzi is the NRM brainwashing destination where they take all of their... Oh, something else I wanted you to think about. If indeed Museveni was at Changkwanzi, why did he not speak of any of the current affairs? Why did he not speak of the murders? He only said something about, and everyone who has lost somebody, which could mean any time in the life of Museveni, a statement like that was made at Changkwanzi. It doesn't necessarily have to mean it has to do with the children who were killed recently. So that in itself indicates that Museveni was not in Changkwanzi. That's part of the videos that were put together. Another clue is that when whatever the video was, the first one that was presented, he talked about something about going to Mars or going to the skies or something like that. For a country that can hardly have roads, that the roads don't function, that the hospitals have no medication, that the police live like animals without housing facilities, that the military are not paid for several months, for us to even begin thinking about going to Mars or whatever is irrelevant. The suffering in Uganda is despicable. People die day and night for ailments that are curable, but they don't have the means to do that. Why would he come out and talk about going to the moon? It doesn't make any sense. It was not alluding to the current events that were happening in the country. And as a president, those are the things that he was supposed to be addressing, and not going off, a tangent on something that doesn't even matter to Uganda. So AI has come, AI is taking waves everywhere. But obviously, these people don't know how awake we are, and that will question everything. And by the way, here's a tip. If you see a picture of Museveni or a video of Museveni, here is how you find out whether a video is correct, current, or even when he said anything or spoke on that video. Take that video and put it into an AI app. It'll tell you when he spoke those words and when that video was recorded. So many people tried this, especially the ones who lived abroad. I got something from a lady who said she put that thing in right away, and the answer that came out to her about when the video was recorded, it said something about a period last year. Let me actually find that. So as much as they think they can fool us, they are wasting their time. There's no way Museveni, the video was recorded in December 3rd, 2020. Sorry, hold on. On March 12th, 2026. I was reading the date the other way because in the US the dates are different, are written differently. So the video that Museveni was speaking, the first one that came out, when somebody, you have to do this quickly because once it circulates, it reports a different date. So that video was recorded on December 3rd, on March 12th, 2026. But let's not just stick with that. There are several other pieces of evidence that show that that video was actually, those three videos, so far there's three that are circulating. All three are false and made up. If when these people come out and you ask them when they leave Changkwanzi, they will tell you that they have not laid eyes on Museveni. Because our sources are right with him at all times. And we would know if Museveni had been seen at any time. But you also know that he doesn't just have to be in Changkwanzi. As a national leader, he would have to be at other events in the country. But have you seen Museveni? No. No. That's because he had a stroke and cannot speak. If you have any stroke patients, you will know that most people have different reactions to when they have a stroke, which includes debilitations like your body failing, your muscles getting weak and not functioning as they used to be. Some people become paralyzed. If part of the face is paralyzed, then obviously you are not able to speak, which Museveni has a condition of such nature. His mouth is shut from the stroke, which means he has lost muscle function on part of his face. His lips cannot open and close as they used to be. The other thing also is as they continue to do this, they're probably going to use the gentleman Tichampamire. So if you ever see Museveni super energetic, you just know that they're using Tichampamire to present as Museveni, which doesn't surprise me. It will happen and could happen. But anyway, here are the rules of the people who are at Changkwanzi. Before they went in to the caucus, at the NRM caucus in Changkwanzi, they were all informed of the rules of procedure. These were designed by Salim Saleh and Muhoozi. Okay? These are the things that they were told before they got in, and these are the rules they're abiding by as they exist over there. I'm going to read one at a time. They're about 20, so I hope you have time. The first one is that NRM is a party God sent to save Uganda from all enemies. They are brainwashing all attendees to say that NRM is actually God sent, meaning that they should not put any other party in their mind that there would be a possibility that they can exist and run Uganda. The next one, number 2, NRM should be near you as a neighbor, not any other party. And if your neighbor or town is not NRM, you will remain a terrorist because Bobby Wine is now a known terrorist. This is something that they actually speak up loudly at Changkwanzi, saying that all NRM who are present must have neighbors who are only NRM. If they have neighbors who are not, they will be branded terrorists. Just like they've branded His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu a terrorist. That's 2. Number 3, NRM members should be the first informers and first security everywhere. So basically, if an NRM knows of a NUP member or another political party member, which when I say another political party, it means a political party that is not designed by the Musevenis to pretend to be an opposition, they must report that party or that member to the security. And then the security will take care of them, which means elimination. By the way, at the funeral and the vigil of Mrs. Edith Mufumbiro, there's been several abduction of NUP members who were in attendance. Some of them have not been reported yet, which is the same story in neighborhoods in local parts of the country where people are just disappearing. And when they disappear, until a family member comes out to say, by the way, I've lost someone, if they're not afraid, because a lot of people are also afraid to even come out and say, I've lost someone, because then it causes alarm or it sets those people, it gets them exposed. They begin to worry about their own safety. So number 3 is that they must report anybody who is not NRM around them. The next, number 4, NRM members will not be taken to prison for killing any NUP member, because NUP is a terrorist group. So they're telling all of their people that if they kill any members of NUP, it doesn't surprise me again, because we have lost several members who have not been documented, have never received justice of loss. You know, right from the beginning when Kauma was killed, we still have no judgment about what happened to him or who took responsibility for killing him, despite the fact that we know who it is. We know who killed him, but the government has not taken charge of because the government sent him to do that, has not given justice to the family of the late Kauma, the driver of His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. This was in Arua. Okay? So no NRM will be taken to prison after killing a NUP member. They get a free pass for murder. Every NRM member and candidate will write their needs on a paper and leave it behind the list and mobile number that they have. So basically, before they leave, NRM members who are attending Chankwanzi should write all their problems or whatever their needs are on a paper with a mobile money number and leave it there, because with the promise that they, Salim Saleh and Muhoozi and so on, will give them whatever their ask is. Whatever they need will be given to them. But I kid you not, they will not live to even see any of that. Because what they're doing now is profiling them. Who knows what? Who said what? It is why they're paired with strangers, with different people, because they're going to have conversations. They will be able to tell, and it's possible that those rooms are bugged. So if they even make mistakes to talk about, you know, something other than what they're supposed to be speaking about, which, by the way, they were told not to speak about or question where Museveni is, not talk about that last family. Don't ask about Museveni's family. Don't ask about where he is. Don't ask about his wife. Don't ask about what is State House altogether. That is a no-no for all NRM at the caucus. You can see how they're like sheep, just nodding on, because they don't make their own decisions. Okay? NRM has the next president as Muhoozi and should be protected as they do for Museveni. So they're telling themselves that they must protect Muhoozi because their next president is Muhoozi, whether they like it or not. This is rule number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6. They're saying that Muhoozi is their president whether they like it or not, and they have to guard and protect him like they did Museveni. This is another evidence that Museveni may never come out of what he's going through. Okay? I mentioned previously that they're proposing, Salim Saleh is proposing imposing Muhoozi as a vice president, because obviously they can't give a loophole, because if they give Museveni, which in fact, if Museveni swears in, it is likely 85% that he'll swear in via Zoom. because physically he's incapable of being there. And even if he came, he will not look appropriate. And they don't want him caught on camera looking unable to perform. So Museveni will likely swear in on video. If we get there, at that point, he will appoint Muhoozi if Muhoozi has not been imposed on us already. Because all this is still an ongoing process that they're thinking about how to land all together. So with Muhoozi as vice president, it is natural that when the president is gone or dead, which Paul Biya of whichever country has sworn in his son as the vice president strategically, because he knows when the president is inactive or unable, the vice president takes chair. Just like how our Excellency President Kyagulanyi Ssentamu designated Mama Dr. Lina Zedriga to be the the acting president while he's out of the country, performing other duties of national importance. So they're saying to all NRM members at Shankwanzi that Muhoozi is the next president, whether they like it or not, and they must protect him. Number 7, all money being wasted on artists is now going to go to NRM members. You know, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu being an artist, you would expect that other artists would be hopeful and feel like now that they have their own, gearing up for a position like this, that they'd stand behind him and support him. Unfortunately, most of them were convinced, despite what they go through personally, to go on and join the NRM or be on the side of the opposition of His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Sadly, the Salim Salehs who were the most, I think Salim Saleh was the biggest person that they paid attention to or worked with, who does not really care about these people. In fact, in my last video, Salim Saleh said that he has finally gotten rid of his feces. He calls artists in Uganda, the ones who go to see him in Gulu all day, all night, he calls them feces because they gave them a botched law, copyright law, which actually did not mean anything. It didn't pass. It was botched because they couldn't sorry, I had to read a text message there. So they feel like they got copyright law, but copyright law has not been actually has not gone through all the processes to become law. It is still in the process and can be vetoed and thrown out of parliament or whatever stage it is at any time. It really doesn't have legs right now. But most of our artists, because they don't really care to pay attention and study things, they took it as a final decision that it is now legal as a part of the laws of the land. No, copyright law is not a law. It hasn't passed. So if you think so, you are mistaken. There's about 7 stages a bill has to pass through to become law and eventually signed by Museveni, and that didn't happen. Okay? So, yes. Hold on just a minute, please. Just a moment. Hello, Mathis?
Hey, don't worry about paying us today.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Centria was helping me. She said, you know, we just want to help you out. You know, you're sick and stuff. Yeah,
Oh.
we can work that out next week. No problem.
I appreciate that.
And yeah. Anyway, the salad mix. I'm not actually in the garden team, so it turned out the crate I was looking at, the salad mix, was old. It was like it doesn't get good to go to the animals. I ended up finding the salad mix later.
Okay.
Arlen, we had already sent it with Arlen. Yeah, because he had to leave. So I did send him with some lettuce heads for you.
Okay. Wonderful.
In the future, we do have salad mix. Just at the moment,
Right.
not on the cards.
It happens.
But it was good. So,
Right. That's okay. No problem.
anyway.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyway, yeah, let us know how it goes, and hope that, yeah,
Wonderful.
everyone loves it.
Thank you. Yes, I will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.
Bye. Sorry about that. I had to take that call. So anyways, the last point I was on, it said NRM has designated Muhoozi as the next president. And you know how that's going to happen. The next one is, oh yeah, I said all money that was wasted on artists is no longer going to be. It is going to be redirected to NRM members. Maybe that's why they're going to make notes of all their issues or what their needs are, so that that money comes to them. The next, whoever shall give intelligence or dangerous Snoop members in their locations shall be gifted 200,000 shillings. For 200,000 shillings, these NRM people are going to report Snoop members and their activities, good activities, because that's all Snoop does for people, to the killers of the NRM to come and take them for 200,000 shillings. That is what? Not even $30? That's how low these NRM people are. Okay? The NRM will mobilize people for the swearing in of Museveni and prepare groups. They will be facilitated, and they want 1 million people present during the swearing in ceremony. So all these NRM people who are in Chankwanzi today, when they leave after the week, they should go and mobilize a lot of people, up to 1 million, to attend Museveni's swearing in ceremony. Okay? Up to 1 million. They will be given money, they'll be given buses, they'll be facilitated in any way to bring people to Kololo. You know, when Bobby Wine has a gathering, he doesn't need to tell anybody that he's going to be anywhere. It is indicative that people love him just because of who he is and what he stands for. When Bobby Wine is going into town, even if he's on a border, everything is at a standstill in the city. That is what it means to be loved and to be for and by the people. These NRM people impose themselves on us. And that is why they have to ferry people from all places in Uganda to bring them to attend the function. Yes, Simon, for $50. Is it 50? Yeah, about there. For that much, they will rat out a human being who will likely be killed. A NUP member will likely be killed over 200,000 shillings. It's awful. It's awful. The next one, NRM MPs going to parliament should prepare for the best and... NRM MPs going to parliament prepare for the best and supporting government bills. So anyway, I'm going to reread this. So NRM MPs going into parliament, okay, after May. They're saying that they should prepare to support every bill that will be tabled, including the land bill, which is the most dangerous bill ever. The land bill will mean all land will belong to the last family, and they are at will to distribute as they would like and wish. It is very dangerous because every single Ugandan, no matter if you're a judge, if you are a chief, if you are a pastor, if you are a haji, if you are a member of parliament, if you are a student, if you are a farmer, this is why it is important to be Ugandan first and fight against these people, because the land bill affects every Ugandan, including these NRM people attending this Chankwanzi thing. The people in attendance are affected by the land bill as well. But it's possible that they will overlook their loss just to gain a couple of millions from these people. So I'm going to read that again. All NRM MPs should prepare, the ones going into parliament, prepare to support all bills that will be tabled in parliament. Because remember now, any bill that comes to parliament is not for Ugandans. None. Any law that is enacted in Uganda is not for Ugandans. It's for the Rwandese and that last family. Think about it in the last 10 years, maybe more. Which bill has been passed in favor of Ugandans? None. The land bill is going to be the most dangerous, which will make every indigenous Ugandan a slave to these people. Next, NRM members to get electricity subsidies on every unit, and they shall be given codes. So NRM members who are at Changkwanzi and documented will not pay for electricity anymore. But like most of them currently do not pay for electricity, do not pay for water. People like, some of the people like the ones who perform or act on behalf of former Museveni, people like the Katikiros, they don't pay for electricity or water. In fact, you're at risk to go and try to read that meter because you may not live. If you try to attempt to go against what the status quo is, you will lose your life. So all NRM MPs or members will not pay for electricity anymore, and they'll have a specific special code to enter in the system to be recognized as one of theirs. NRM MPs or whoever is in attendance is supposed to spread news of NRM and avoid social media lies of jobless and useless bloggers, false propaganda. So they want to encourage them to promote NRM, everything NRM, and not talk other things on social media. Next, they have to ensure that no NUP member near them, they have to ensure that there are no NUP members near them. They have to clear them out, which means they have to kill them. Okay? They will issue RPCs and DPC contacts for their protection. So let's say you live next to a NUP member. Let's say you're a NUP member, you live next to an NRM member who is in attendance of this event. When that NRM member decides to do something to you, you will inform a DPC and RPC to provide security and protection for you for what you are doing. That means they're going to safeguard these people as they continue to hurt us or kill NUP members. The RPCs and DPCs in all neighborhoods. It's no wonder, all over Uganda, okay? If you take note, the RDCs or the people who represent government in those areas are people who are not from that area. It is very strategically done. I'm losing light here. It is strategically done because they don't expect you to have services for your sake. Okay? All they want to have somebody there is to have somebody who will communicate the interests of Museveni and his government only. Not necessarily for you to have somebody who cares about your needs, who knows your needs, and who wants the best for you. So the reason why your RDC may speak Lunyankole or Kinyarwanda and not a local language like in Acholi, we have RDCs who are Rwandese, who are disguised as Banyankole. But they really don't know what factors or what troubles affect a member in my village. They don't understand. They don't care. Okay? Next, there will be they said they should ensure that there are no demonstrations or strikes reported in the country. So they must report any, because these people suspect that there will be demonstrations, strikes. In fact, they could get hit on the day of swearing in. So they want to nip it before it even takes shape. If there be a group of people planning to do something like this, they should report it immediately so it's disarmed right away. Any demonstrations that may be against the interests of the NRM, they say must be nipped right away. The next one, they say that they're calling Bobby Wine an enemy to everyone. Even mothers whose kiosks are getting removed are crying. They're making them cry Bobby Wine because they must paint Bobby Wine as the most terrible person that has ever existed in Uganda. That is why those women whose kiosks were hit on orders of the Muhozis to try to clear the city, they made those women cry with the name of Bobby Wine for causing this, and yet, on purpose, and yet these were done or planned by those people, by the Muhozis. Muhozi and Salim Saleh trying to create fear in Uganda. They're also saying those members of NRM should pray for the president and the NRM. They have money, but they still need more to do all operations. So Museveni still needs a lot of money, they say, to perform all the operations that he needs. So they're asking these people to pray for him. The next, they're saying they have to be vigilant that Bobby Wine brought terrorists in the country who want to take over government, but they shall handle them if they try. So please, any NRM member who hears about this must report. Report any NUP member you know who is joining them. For as we shall control them, and we are unstoppable. So they're calling themselves unstoppable, and that they suspect that NUP is trying to create a terrorist activity in Uganda. So they have to put them out of action and lock every NUP office that is in the country. The next thing they're saying, NRM soon shall have no opposition in Uganda. This has been their dream. In fact, Museveni thought by now he would have absolutely no opposition in the country. And he's surprised. And one of the things that's killing him is the fact that Bobby Wine got away. Okay? So he says, soon, Uganda shall have no opposition. They've bought off all NUP members and they have clothes, but their heart is all taken. Okay? Just a moment, please. I need to take this call. Hello? Yes, this is she.
Okay, so I would like to go ahead and get Judas approved.
Excellent.
But I need to know which PC is the one that's going to be selected.
Oh, Banner. Banner University Medical.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the date that you moved into?
January 2nd. Yeah.
All right, I'll go ahead and finish processing your application, get her approved.
Thank you.
And you'll receive a copy of the letter.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry about that. I'm still working, believe it or not. But I can do both. Because as much as my heart is here, my heart is in Uganda. So let's do this. Okay. So I was at the point where they said, so they're saying that there's been lately a lot of talk about terrorist activity in Uganda. It is by design that gentleman who is not Onyum, the one who came and killed those children, is not the one paraded with the Virginia driver's license. The person who came and killed those children was their person, was a Rwandese person from, they said he may have been a prisoner in Tanzania who was promised to get released if they perform this activity. It is no wonder that person has never said a word. In fact, we don't know if he speaks. We don't know what language he speaks, because if that person was the same person, he wouldn't have grown hair in 4 days. And he has kaweke, like 211. He has kaweke, and kaweke does not grow almost instantly as this man was paraded. So they have a thing going about terrorist activity. It is no wonder they've started to say something about that Onyum, that gentleman who killed those children, to be linked to Lumbuye, because they want to try to link him to all of the bloggers abroad, because Museveni desperately wants Lumbuye in Uganda so he can kill him by himself. Because what Lumbuye has unveiled for Ugandans is unimaginable. If we did not have people like Fred Lumbuye, Asimwe Wile, we would never know how badly these people have eaten up our country. So the talk of terrorism is popular because it is the only reason why they could put the names of the likes of Lumbwe on Interpol as a most wanted individual, so that international law can try to get them based on the facts of what they have done and extradite them to Uganda for punishment. They're linking that rope that way because that is a longer event than we can imagine. This Onyum, they're saying, is from Virginia, from the United States. You also know that our president, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, is in the United States. Okay. Lumbuye Fred is in Turkey, is abroad. Asim Wawire is abroad. Those are the two most, I mean, if Museveni has a thorn in his shoe, those are like cactus type thorns. So he wants to try to find a way to bring those people back. In fact, they've edited the file of the gentleman who murdered those children to say there are others at large. But fortunately, Muhoozi continues to speak, and today he posted something else that pins him even further. He said his father would like to toy with Bobby Wine, but he wants to kill him. I'm sorry, one more second, please. Hello, this is Lady. Yes.
They have completed the medical housing.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not completed the medical.
Okay.
We know that for the financial.
It's completed. Yeah. Right.
Wait for the medical to be completed.
Yes.
And then we can go ahead and proceed.
Awesome.
Have they contacted you or anything?
No, I don't even know who it is. No.
Okay, I can give you the information if you want to reach out to her and see what they're going to schedule it.
Could you send it to me in that email, please? Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Anita. Bye-bye. So like I said, I'm also working. I apologize. I don't mean to disrespect you and your time. But anyways, so the terrorist type of communication is an incitement on this case in particular, but to bring on everybody and tie them onto this event. And also other events that they're setting up, all the killings that are happening in Apache, those children who were cut, those 7 children, terrorist activity, the buses that are getting accidents. They plan to burn the bus of Little Muheju school, kindergarten school. All those terrorist things are a way for them to tie NUP to a major terrorist organization. There is no terrorism in Uganda. There's no reason Ugandans should be fearful about living in Uganda or being peaceful and going about their business in Uganda. There's no reason. Everything that's happening that looks like a terrorist act is designed by Muhoozi, Salim Saleh, and their mafia government. Museveni's mafia government is doing all those things. Don't be fooled. It's nobody else. If you want to cut this part and share it with the people that matter in the rest of the world, the only people that are causing terrorism in Uganda are Muhoozi, Salim Saleh, Damulira, Kaihura, Abbas Vyakagaba. There's another Muhoozi guy somewhere in there. Those types of people. Because they want, by the time the swearing in ceremony happens, Ugandans are subdued, that they come out of the door and say, what time is it? Who's there? And go back in. Just pop your head and disappear. That's what they'd like to see in Uganda. That is an easy Uganda for them to rule and manage. That is where they're getting us. So any accidents, any killings, any officer deaths, any school burnings. In fact, last night there was a school that was burned. What is the name? If you can remember it, it's a girls' secondary school. It was set on fire last night. All these terrorist events are being done to cause fear amongst Ugandans in Uganda. Don't believe it. And they're trying to attach those to Lumbuye Fred, our president, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, and our dear pastor Asim Wawire from Bible and Politics. They want to tie all those people together to this event of Onyum. Onyum is the most luxurious prisoner I have seen in recent years in Uganda. The most luxurious. He was arrested with a watch. He kept his watch on. He was not beaten. I mean, you should see how they arrest new members. You are lucky to keep your underwear on just to arrive on the truck. Women have been arrested with boobs hanging out. Okay? They lift you by your underwear or your belt. This man was gracefully handled, hands tied behind his back, and then lifted into the van. People wanted to obliterate him. If Muhoozi wanted to kill him firing squad style, the people wanted to do it. No. They protected him, held him, and took him away. He has had a change of clothes. He has not been beaten. You saw how Eddie Mutwe looked like when he was abducted by Muhoozi. For no crime and no evidence whatsoever. This guy was caught doing this. But he walked away. Every day he's brought to court. His clothes are changed. He's in a new set of clean jeans and everything. He wears shoes. I mean, you should see if Eddie Mutwe could still keep his clothes on when he was brought to court the first time from Masaka. You could see. He had no life in him. Most new members are brought to court limping. No shoes. You can't wear shoes because you don't fit anymore. From all the beatings. They sleep in submerged water. The lady who died recently, who was from nowhere, caught in the middle of just being outside on election day, picked up, taken away. She did not do anything. That young lady in the video who died recently, she was taken away with a few other girls. They were put in a room. They slept naked. They slept submerged in water. They were injected with chemicals every day. I mean, when she narrates before she died, how she went through those 28 days of being under detention after abduction is crazy. But this so-called Onyum has no hurt. Nothing. He has nothing to show. Nothing. This is the guy caught red-handed killing children. All evidence is in plain sight. So any terrorist activity is a government policy enacted by Muhoozi and Salim Saleh, Museveni, and them, because they're playing for Museveni's playbook. Everything they're doing is right out of Museveni's playbook when he came in 1986. Same thing he did in Luero, same thing he has done in Acholi. For 20 years since ushering into government, Museveni put Acholi in the LRA war for 20 whole years. When they talk about killing anybody over 18 or 17, they mean it. The Acholi people existing today, except the ones who work with them, are young people who have no elders. Many Acholi younger people like my age have no elders to even ask about how they used to live. None. We are forging life every day. Just from experience, we hit our head, come back, fix it, because that is their intention. So there is no terrorism in Uganda. It is all engineered by Muhoozi, Salim Saleh, the Damuliras, Kaihura, all those people, just to create fear, because they know Museveni is not going to be there, and they want to forcefully put Muhoozi as the next president. Anyway, next thing. So they said they encourage all those NRM people to participate in wealth creation programs and tell their people to borrow and pay back PDM. So PDM, there was a letter that came out of Mbarara where they said anybody who cannot afford to pay back their PDM that they borrowed will lose their land. When we talk about land, it's the most valuable thing to lose anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter if it's just Uganda. But the fact that in Uganda it's being taken away purposely by these people is something we must watch and take action against. As you can see, there are several ways, including money laundering or lending money to try to take land from people. If anything, we must guard our land because it's the future. Where will you have your children? What do they inherit? Where's your legacy? Where is your burial ground? You must secure and maintain and keep your land. But it is the most dangerous thing they want to table as soon as they swear in, which we hope doesn't happen. Okay. We have an envelope. This is the last thing they said. They have an envelope for everyone to take home. They have to make sure their name is on the list. So everybody who is there has to register. But registering doesn't mean, or does not equate to the envelope, because registering means they're going to know who came, who did what did they do, what did they say. Did that person get the right dose of the poison? And then they'll watch and follow from there. This is not about them doing anything good for these NRM people. But they're so stupid to realize it. And therefore, they achieved it. They will suffer because they won't reason. They won't choose to do the right thing. They won't. Okay? The other thing that they've mentioned is that something in their pipeline is to try, they have drafted some new laws or things that they're going to follow. They want to announce that Uganda is officially under terrorist attack. They have written this, and that they're monitoring different parts of Uganda that are being targeted, like schools and roads. As you see, another school was burned last night. So I'm reading this from what the document that they've written amongst themselves. I got it on my hand here. They're going to target churches. They're going to target schools continuously, markets, arcades, mosques. The solution they want to do, what they want to arrive at, is that Ugandans will not congregate up to 20 people in one place for more than 20 minutes. If that becomes policy, that means you cannot go to church, because you can't plan how many people will attend a service. That means there won't be any school gatherings. That means there won't be any mosque attendances, because if that law passes, which they are going to try to say, because of terrorist activity or heightened terrorist activity, we're going to make sure that people don't get hurt. And so we're saying 20 people should not gather in the same spot for more than 20 minutes. No. It is a way to keep Ugandans away from grouping to try to take back what's theirs. So I say we must fight these things early, because when they say things like this, they're testing the water to see how much they can continue to do. We must stop this before it gets any further. Okay, so they're going to, because they don't have money to afford to pay the police, the military, and all these bodies, they're now saying that every school should hire some military services, actual military people, and the schools should pay them. So in a way, they're trying to offload their payroll and send them to the schools to pay them, because they're preaching terrorism constantly. They fear what President Bobby Wine is planning, because they think Bobby Wine being abroad, obviously, he's doing something that they're worried about and scared about. So they want to try to make sure that they tame people from trying to get together once the orders come through for us to go and do something about what's happening in the country. Okay? They're also planning to deploy a lot of military people in ways, on roads and streets and in the cities, which all those are lies regarding terrorist activity. Okay? And this is all going to be announced by the joint press conference by military, police, and the prison services, that Uganda is under terrorist attack because of cases like the Onyum and the children's murder at Gaba School. So they're going to stop meetings of churches, at malls, at arcades, at roads, and other places, and they'll also introduce this bill in Parliament. Remember, they've already talked to them to accept every bill that will come tabled in Parliament, because they are the majority and because they will get paid for doing that. They want the government in their hands. Okay? So in some sort of decree, they're going to say that Ugandans must not congregate for more than 20 minutes and more than 20 people, or even up to 20 people, because they're fearful of what's happening to them. So Onyum is not who they say he is, because the gentleman who killed those children is not the guy being paraded in courts. All right? I thank you so much for being here today. I think I've taken a lot of your time, but I hope that's okay. Sometimes I can't come several times, and so I just bundle everything together. But at least I want to keep us all updated and informed And, you know, keep our eyes out, keep the strategies going. And, you know, more information, the more power we have. I love you all. I thank you for attending my live today. I hope you all have a good weekend. It's coming up. I want you all to stay encouraged, because everything that they're planning does not have to happen, and it won't. Because as they plan their evils, God is not asleep. We pray and we hope that at one point we'll gain all the strength to stand up and do what's necessary. We must. We must. Our president is safe in the US and is doing everything that he needs to do. Everything. And the reason why they fear him is because they know the power he carries. He's in the right places. He's doing the right thing. We are all doing the right thing. Keep your foot on the gas. Okay? This time, Uganda must change. You know, people like Idi Amin also had plans for the next day. Obote had plans for the next day. Unfortunately, he had to leave and not come back. Okay? Idi Amin had plans for the next day. They all have plans for the next day, but it doesn't mean they will pass. Doesn't mean. It doesn't mean. And they will not. Uganda is in a different time. This baby has to be born. We have to go through what we're going through. We are at the right place at the right time. This must happen. Okay? If we have any hope, it is now. Because this is different. This is different. This is where Museveni started from. That is why he's very anxious. That is why he's about to die, wherever he is. That is why Museveni goes through all this. It is unfortunate that his people don't see it. But we see it. We feel it. We won't relent. We won't stop. So anybody coming into my inbox thinking they'll stop me, good riddance. We won't. Biaba Kama. We want our win. Biaba Kama. Bobby Wine won the election. Biaba Kama. Biaba Kama. You will answer. You will, sir. Okay? I love you and leave you. I hope you have the best weekend. But even if it's tough, remember what Waiswa is going through today. No one would wish on their enemy. No one. If anything, if it's any consolation, Waiswa is in a worse place today compared to any one of us. And I don't know it all, but it's hard. Okay? Let us all stick together, continue working hard. I'm here for you. I love you and leave you. Bye.